Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the broadcasting tonight here on SimRace.tv of GPVWC's coverage of round 11 of the Supercup Championship here at Monza, the old chicane hopperoo. My name is Simon Smith, and I'll be bringing you the action alongside the ever-fantastic Nick Rowland.
A very good evening to you, Simon, and good evening to all our viewers out there for this wonderful Monza race we're expecting around one of the fastest tracks in the world and one of the most prestigious as well.
Absolutely, it's where the front wings get jiggy with it and bounce like they're in some kind of rapper movie, or at least music video, bouncing up and down. You've seen the suspension on those cards. That's a bit like, well, front wings as boobalicious and stuff like that. We've also got Simon Milhoish, as ever, our cameraman extraordinaire, bringing you all of the eye candy that's going on. We'll be moving into the Super Cup thing very shortly. We expect no Liuzzi moves down into turn one, as Andrew Morgan in the chat room just said. Have you seen that clip on YouTube, Nick, where it goes, no, 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 no?
Yep, I have done, and that was pretty intense, that one. And I wasn't quite expecting what happened, to be honest.
Well, was the highest HRT was for a little while. These cars will be moving forward into the race session very shortly. We'll take you down there.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Laps of high octane action here.
User joined your channel.
So the grid just forming up. We've got 39 laps here. Expecting most people to go for a one-stop strategy purely because the fuel is very, very marginal around here. Of course, it's a high-speed track, so therefore fuel usage should be relatively high as well, because you'll be hopefully pedal to the metal all the way round, unless possibly your name is Wesley Morris. And Alex Rolls will let into as well. I suppose most of the qualifying watching them go backwards as we go around the formation. Top up. Second, we've got Roy Schroeder taking the surprise pole position. Fantastic job. 88 thousandths ahead of the Jesse Reynolds car from Alex Cooper for CSG Racing. Philip Cullen is third for Halcyon Racing Team. And Adam Rouse looks like he's going to be rounding out row 2 for Hawkeye Racing. Is going to Mike Seymour, and we've just gone back to warm up because I believe Martin Schumacher should have been in fourth position. So a bit like that tuna sandwich that we've been seeing going around YouTube. Looks like we're having to duck in and out before we finish.
Yeah, exactly. I think race direction are just altering the grid to back what it should be, because it was Martin Schumacher, I believe, that was slotted into fourth position. So I'm sure we'll be able to rerun down through the grid now.
Any particular favourites that you're looking out for today, Nick? You're much more closer into the GPVWC community than I am, so you must have some little wagers you might want to place.
User joined.
We have usual protagonists towards the front. I think the only slight shock surprise is maybe Peter being down 8th. Usually runs on hard tyres, but may have expected him slightly higher. I believe other priorities have taken over though just lately, so Petr hasn't been able to exploit the maximum amount of testing he would have ideally liked. So you've probably got to look at Petr potentially zero stopping and short shifting to save that fuel required. I think it's off by about roughly half a lap. And then we've also obviously got the two CSG boys, Martin Schumacher and Alex Cooper. And again, you know, shock pole position with Roy Schroeder, so you never know what he could do from pole here today.
Well, both him and his brother are a right pair of Schrotens, and he's proven it to the limit as he takes pole position around the fastest circuit pretty much in the calendar, and as again he leads around on pole, followed by Alex Cooper. Philip Cullen then third. CSG's Martin Schumacher will line up 4 ahead of Adam Rouse for Hawkeye in 5. Mike Seymour for Innovision in 6. Doing some great stuff with podcasting recently, actually. You should check it out if no one hasn't already. Pitbullcast, I think, or something like that. Martin O'Connor, 7 for NRT Racing, ahead of Peter in 8th for Torrent Motorsports, looking to ascend the order. Andrew Morgan will be 9 for Tiger Express Motorsports, sounding suspiciously like a foreign beer. Boyd Bryson rounds out the top 10 for Woods Racing, ahead of Marek Skajmowski for Malta Force GP. Ryan Walker, 12th for Halcyon Racing. Matt Clip 13 for Kerno Sports, and Morten Verneson rounds out 14th for Green Stripes Racing.
Yeah, and then we have in 15th position for NRT Racing is Andres Pestovs. We have in 16th place Terence Gretsch for Multiforce. Simon Crane 17th for Waterblue Racing, Scott Bennett for Kerno Sport in 18th, Martin Bulgin for Tiger Express in 19th place, Nick Newcomb for No Fear Racing in 20th, Jeff Mead, PB Racing 21st, Chris Allen, Green Stripes Racing in 22nd. We then have Wesley Morris for Synergetic Motorsports in 23rd, bit of a contrast to his teammate there, being 23rd compared to first. Keith Camilleri for Waterblue Racing in 24th, Miles Dixon for No Fear Racing in 25th, Kenny Leibeer for PB Racing in 26th, and running out the midfield is Alex Rolls for Innovision Racing in 27th.
The final two will be starting from pit lane. Kenny deciding to take to the start because he was changing his car after qualifying, because I think his setup was all a bit cockle-doodle-doo, and Alex Rolls pretty much providing his surname to a T throughout qualifying, spent a lot of it backwards in the first chicane pretty much, so we shall see what's going on with them. Hope, as ever, you will pull out once everyone's got around Sector 1. Any bets on who will actually end up coming out from Sector 1 or who might not come out of Sector 1?
Well, there is that obviously a very, very tight chicane for turns 1 and 2, and obviously it's two very long straights until the Sector 1 beam before they're released. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle from pit lane. In terms of the start, Roy Schroeten's always been a bit of a dynamite starter, so we may see him scamper away, and it could be the CSG boys getting mixed up just behind maybe the Halcyon and Phil Cullen, and then Adam Rouse and Mike Seymour just behind. Mike Seymour, in turn, just returning from a broken wrist he's had. This is his first race back since recovering from a broken wrist.
Oh, how did he manage that one, I wonder, because he podcasts, not types. So, Doctor actually does do some good stuff for the GP net as we get going here for Monza, and Schroeten is off not too badly. There's problems with someone spinning off. It's a yellow car, I think it's possibly, yeah, it's a false GP. They're Gretsch, I think, in trouble, and they come piling down. It's Matt Clip, obviously he was saying he was in trouble, but Schroeten keeps it just from Schumacher. Cooper down to third, Casa in problems, and it's crashed down the back there. Jeff Mead without a rear ring in P23. That car looking a wee bit worse for wear as they come down to the second chicane.
Yeah, it was very chaotic in turn 1 there. Martin Schumacher actually had a... Whoa! Race leader Schroeten, he's spun in the second chicane. And Schumacher and Cooper have just been able to dodge him. But unfortunately, pole position man Roy Schroeten has just fallen straight off the track in turn 2 and 3. And that's, 3 and 4, and that's really compromised his race from now after having a wonderful qualifying session. Locked the rear brakes up and he's not been able to hold it. But Schumacher had an audacious lunge in turn 1, coming past Cooper and nearly past Schroeten as well. But Schumacher's got the advantage now in front of Cooper, and Peter Casa has come up from 8th to 3rd now, with Adam Rouse in a hot pursuit. And Marek Skrzynowski as well, what a start that is. He's up into 5th place for Multiforce.
Great stuff from 11th to 5 there for Skrzynowski. As they come down, and you've got Cullen, Morgan, Bryson, Seymour, O'Connor. The rest of the field, they're kind of streaming through. So the problems, or the culprits, as there's another drama, it's Matt Clip off again in 20th for Kerno. That's the second spin he's had. Oh, there's more problems as well, isn't there?
Yeah, we've gone 3 wide into Parabolica. Gretsch, Crane and Bulgin all went 3 wide into the Parabolica. That was an amazing attempt to try and get 3 cars through there, but it was Crane and Bulgin that dropped off the track. They've been able to recover. They've fallen behind Wesley Morris. Martin Bulgin has, and Simon Crane's going to become under heavy fire from the second Synergetic very shortly. That was a hefty attempt at a 3 wide manoeuvre through there.
Particularly worked, just seen Terence Skrzynowski's beached on the curbs in 15th position down at turn 1. A spin all on his own, and he's retired. He's the first one out there for Multiforce GP. That's a shame. It was ascension to descension, 0 to 0 in the space of a lap, unfortunately. As Martin Schumacher leads the way from Cooper, Casa, Cullen, Rouse, Morgan, O'Connor. Roy Schroeten has left the game now as well, so he's another one that's out. So our pole leader out before the lap's over. Into the pits is Pestovs, Clip and Calamari.
Yeah, looks like there's a few issues further back down the field as well, because Wesley Morris had a spin as Roy Schroeten's left in turn 1 there as well. I believe we've just had Nick Newcomb spin in his second chicane as well. Yes, he spun as well, so he's fallen well back down through the field now. And Morten Wernerson has moved up into 18th past Nick Newcomb. But yeah, it's absolutely chaotic. We've got a great little scrap going on between Chris Allen, Boyd Bryson and Terence Gretsch as well. Before this is over position 10. And further on down the road by about 4 seconds is Ryan Walker on his return to Supercup.
As indeed, Bryson had just been passed by Chris Allen. He's just going past for 10th position, rounding outside into the Parabolica. A fantastic move, and Chris Allen's now wrong-footed, and Terence Gretsch goes forward into 11th in the second and the sole remaining Motor Force GP car, as the leaders on lap 3 is Martin Schumacher, I will say Michael, from Alex Cooper, Peter-Casa, Philip Cullen, Rouse, Morgan, O'Connor, Seymour through, Walker on his own, and this little gaggle of Bryson, Allen and Gretsch being punted off there by, or punting off Chris Allen, and the poor driver for Green Stripes Racing gets back going again. Gretsch, I think, has waited. Yes, he has. Gentlemanly driving there by Terence is going to let Chris Allen through, but that's to the advantage of Miles Dixon, who's suddenly in 11th for no fear. And Scott Bennett up to 12th for Kerno.
Absolutely, and we had Adam Rouse against Phil Cullen for position 4 going down to turn 1. Adam Rouse actually backed off quite early. He was side-by-side with Phil Cullen, but decided to back out of it quite early on for Hawkeye, and has fallen back in behind Phil Cullen, which is and then Andrew Morgan's trying to close on the pair of them as well. It's Peter-Casa trying to make an impression on Alex Cooper, more so at the moment at the front, as Martin Schumacher has a nice advantage of 1.4 seconds currently as they go through the Ascari chicane.
And indeed, Simon Crane's taken over Martin Bolgen off your screens for 15th and 16th position. That'll do quite nicely for Crane, as Schumacher kicks up grass as he goes into the Parabolica, running out a little bit wide. I know you've got to go for the kind of line of least resistance around that corner to make sure you don't scrub off much speed. And they're coming up, the leaders, actually to lapse traffic already, because where we had so many people popping into the pits, they're going to come across Calamari, who's back in the pits for the second time. I don't know if that's a pit stop and go, but Clip, Newcomb and Mead are all going to be lapped very, very shortly as the leaders file their way through, and everyone now looking a little bit less ragged as they get under their stride. The car's really not liking the curbs around here though, Nick.
No, nature of these cars and the way they're designed to be set up, they do not like the curbs at all, and these guys are having to really stay away from the curbs heavily due to the fact there's anti-cuts also implemented around this Monza circuit, and it's causing a lot of drivers a lot of issues, as we've already seen with pole position man Roy Schroten, who fell off in the second chicane on the first lap. But it's certainly causing issues. I think the exit curbs are okay for most people. For example, at the second Lesmo, they can run out onto the AstroTurf even there and get away with it. It's more these high-rise curbs that these cars are very, very unsettled over. And Martin Schumacher currently has the 1.5 second advantage. But as Simon alluded to, he's going to come into Nick Newcomb. Oh, wow, Nick Newcomb spun in front of Schumacher and Cooper. Has got out the way, I believe, now. Yes, he has. But he's Adam Rouse is coming under fire from Andrew Morgan. And Nick Newcomb just about gets out of the way. Can Andrew Morgan make a move into Parabolica down the inside on Adam Rouse? He does. That's very late. Can he get it stuck? Oh, not quite. Rouse had a great run on the exit. That's allowed him the run down and start straight, but it's so long here that he could probably breeze by him. He's tucked up underneath the rear wing of the Hawkeye as he jinks out to the right. He does now. And he's going to go side by side with Adam Rouse down into turn 1. This is Andrew Morgan. Can he brake later? He does make a lot later, in fact. Can he get it pulled up, in fact? What a great manoeuvre that was from Andrew Morgan there. And he's now going to have Adam Rouse attacking back down to the second chicane.
Yes, indeed. Who needs DRS? Peter-Casa is all over the back of Philip Cullen for 3rd and 4th as well. Halcyon versus Torrent. And again, they're going to have trouble with traffic very shortly. Cullen feeling the need to go defensive into the second chicane. It's going to leave him well high and dry, and actually that's Cullen's got round Casa. That was Casa trying to get back through again. So Philip Cullen up to 3rd then for Halcyon, Casa down to 4th as they negotiate the traffic. Someone stopped at the entry to Lesmo 1, not quite sure what's going on there, and Alex Rolls' car is smoking in 19th position down the straight, so I'm not sure what that is happening. That was Matt Clipp actually coming to a halt as he let the leaders through, very gentlemanly like. That's probably destroyed any chance of him getting some good results. Scott Bennett's been off the track as well and has rejoined in 13th position.
Yeah, and the battle between Andrew Morgan and Adam Rouse still rages, and just in front of them it's still Casa against Cullen. Cullen has that upper advantage at the moment, suspecting that Casa may be on the harder compounded tyres he has been in the past few events, and looking to potentially zero stop this race. But the fuel, I believe it's about... Oh, now they've just filtered by. Who's off there? That's Jeff Mead. Jeff Mead was... he's just retired, in fact. He was off the side of the Parabolica exit there. So he's actually retired now from this race, unfortunately. But Peter-Casa likely on the harder compounded tyre, and will try and control that fuel potentially to zero stop. If not, I suspect all these drivers will make one splash and dash, because there's only half a tank they'll need. And Phil Cullen just got huge oversteer out of the first chicane. It's allowed Pedicassa a run down towards the second chicane as they go over the bump through the kink and heading down underneath the bridge before the braking. And I don't think Cassa's close enough here. He's not. He's probably playing a little bit more cautious at the moment as Phil Cullen now tries to build that advantage back up, and it's still Morgan from Rouse just behind it in 5th and 6th respectively.
Yes, indeed. It's a quick rundown of the order just while we watch that. Martin Schumacher leads them by 1.6 seconds. That's the first lap that Cooper has actually eaten into the gap, rather. Eating is what causes broken wrists. Third for Phil Cullen then currently at the moment ahead of Pedicassa. Andrew Morgan then into a excellent 5th for Tiger Express. And then we've got Adam Rouse who's closed into the back of him again. So those two certainly not apart anymore. Martin O'Connor is still keeping a watching brief in 7, 10 seconds down from Mike Seymour, and Ryan Walker with Boyd Bryson rounding out the top 10. Then you've got Dixon, Gretsch, Bennett, Crane, Bolgin, Vernonson, Lybeer and Rolls, the 2 pit lane starters. Rolls' car still smoking, but it's not quite as bad as what it was. Chris Allen's been into the pits and has rejoined in 19 ahead of Pestov's. He must be, I don't know, some kind of sick hybrid of Petrov and a Pesto. Well, we've got Wesley Morris in the pits from 21st, Nick Newcomb 22nd, and Matt Clipp and Keith Calineri, your 2 last runners. Just the top 20 still on the lead lap. As here comes Rouse, under attack and through on Morgan.
Yep, Adam Rouse moves up a position, and Andrew Morgan will now try and re-attack down towards this second chicane, where he's been quite effective already under braking in comparison to Rouse. So can he get it done the second time? And to the inside goes Andrew Morgan. Can he brake later? He can't this time, but has Rouse run on too much? No, he's just got that cut back before he hit the anti-cut. That's a great driving there from Adam Rouse, and he's been able to avoid that on the inside, and Andrew Morgan stays behind. Oh, he cut the inside curb with Lesmo 1 there as well. So he's fallen back by about half a second. So that's just killed off that battle just for now, and I believe momentarily we may have pole position man joining us, Roy Schroten, just to give us an explanation of what happened on that first lap. So hopefully we'll be able to bring Roy Schroten to you very shortly.
Indeed. Speaking of the devil, here is the poor guy. Roy, poor man, 1 lap, went from absolute classic hero to an absolute disastrous end. Tell us what happened. That's stunned, I think. As Morgan closes up onto the back of Rouse. Here he is.
Yeah, hello. I had a great start, but then I was a little bit too easy in that first chicane, so Martin almost got me there. And then in the second chicane, I don't really know what happened, but I spun and I rejoined as 20th or so, and then a few guys in front of me, they spun, and I hit them and went straight through the barriers in the air, so I couldn't go anywhere after that. So
what a terrible shame there, Royce. We just saw on screen there Andrew Morgan doing a fantastic move on Adam Rouse. We didn't think he was stopping. My teeth were clenched, but he's got it there now in 5th position for Tiger Express. But you can still take away, Roy, from that that was a superb pole position that no one was expecting. He was getting a lot of cheers and praise up here in the TeamSpeak channel. Oh, right. Well, sorry, Morgan. I thought he was off then for a second. We could see a little battle there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was getting very, very close to the track limits there. Morgan had a slight moment. It's allowed Rouse to close back up again, but I don't think there's going to be any sort of impression at the moment, as Casa has fallen to 6/10 behind Cullen. So this is currently the closest battle of the front runners, as Rouse will try and now battle against the Tiger Express machinery of Morgan in is Hawkeye, as we've also now had Matt Clipp retire, unfortunately, from this Monza Supercup race.
And that was a collision with Wesley Morris. And Wesley Morris is still stuck on the track in 23rd. He's just getting himself pretty much going now. But yep, here comes Rouse once again on Morgan in the battle for 5 and 6. And Rouse going to the outside. It's going to be a devil move if he makes it the long way round. Braking before the 100-metre board is Rouse. He doesn't feel... Oh, Morgan, he's lost control under braking. He's jumped across the curb. I don't know if that's deemed as cutting or not, but that car was well out of control before it even got into the corner. He's holding him off just about. Rouse trying to go left and right as Wesley Morris too gives up the game. He's gone for the inside round the curve of Grande. Morgan's going to go out and drop back behind again. I don't know if he's just blending it out so that he stays behind. Oh! My goodness me, I thought that car looked so unstable under braking. I thought he was going to absolutely ram poor old Rouse, and now he appears to be in a little bit of trouble. I don't know if he's just the tyres are slightly off or something. the tyres do take a long time to heat up as Simon Crane moves behind Martin Bulgin for 12th. That's a swap for position. But it looks like they've all come to an end now as Boyd Bryson's off the track in 8th position. So, Roy, before we leave you to go and commiserate with a beer, any last words, my friend?
No, not really. I want to thank the Synergetic team for their help with the setup. Well, good luck with the bot test. That's it.
Best of luck for next round, Roy. With that turn of speed, I'm sure you'll do very well indeed. Martin Bulgin spun, trying to hold back Simon Crane, and that's allowed Crane up to 12th position. And Bulgin rejoined, still in 13th, just ahead of Kenny Lever, who was our pit lane starter, and he's doing quite well in 14th at the moment. 1.2 the gap between Schumacher and Cooper there. Sorry to cut over there.
No, I was just going to say exactly the same thing. It's a great minds think alike there. And but yes, it is. The gap has decreased between Schumacher and Cooper. I think Cooper may have just lost out on the exit of the Retophilia there, which has caused him to fall back. But he's starting to close in again, so the battle of the CSGs could be on, as Phil Cullen is 2.1 seconds behind Cooper. Cass has fallen back to 1.1 behind, but as predicted, he potentially could be on a harder compound of tyre. As we look back through the field, we have Terence Grutch against Miles Dixon, I believe this is, for 10th position in the multi-force car here for Terence Grutch, as he looks to try and get underneath that rear wing of Miles Dixon. I don't think he'll be able to do it just before the second chicane. Can he? No, not quite. Dixon broke very late there, but got it pulled up and was able to navigate his way through the tricky chicane here at Monza. And it looks like that battle has just settled down for now.
How far back do you have to be before you no longer get the drag round on these types of cars? As Nick Newcomb's just retired.
Let me see. I think the gap is required with the long straights we have here. I think would be in and around about 3 to 4 tenths roughly. I don't think it'll be much more than that. So, but I think 3 to 4 tenths is when you get the ultimate draft. I think you start picking it up and get some sort of speed pickup at least around about 5 to 6 tenths of a second. You'll get it realistically. As 4 tenths is now dramatically dropping between Gretchen and Dixon as he is in that tow. It's dropped from 4 to 1 tenth to see the hit braking zone for the Parabolica. So there's the advantage there. It's now 2 tenths. So I suspect Terence Gresham might get the run out of the final corner going on to start straight. It's 2 tenths at the moment. It will start to pick up the speed now. He does indeed. The gap between them is dramatically dropping. I don't know if he'll get there in time to hit the braking zone as Dixon goes to the middle part of the track to defend the line, has held that middle line and has got through turn 1 still. Oh no, he hasn't! Oh wow! He hit one of those big anti-cuts and flicked the left rear tyre up high in the air, and Gretsch was actually lucky to not hit him there.
Martin Bulgin and Kenny Lieber, and Kenny Lieber's diving through, but is he stopping? And a mirror image to what we were seeing earlier on with Andrew, but he's managed to keep it sticking as Martin Bulgin having another go back through for Tiger Express Motorsports, and PB Racing's Kenny giving him plenty of room as they go side by side around the Curva Grande. And sometimes it's a bit of a disadvantage to have the inside line for this second chicane. Oh, contact between the two, side by side, side pod hitting and smashing. And a wee bit of tyre rubbing as well, but Bulgin keeps the position back there. Kenny, I was going to say, it's a disadvantage, I feel, sometimes, being on the inside going to that second chicane, because you have to take such an obscure angle through that you're either... Oh, Bulgin! Well, that's an epic way to fail that one. Poor old Martin. Normally I see him with Mr. Gary Allen in the old endurance cars. I don't often see Martin in an open wheeler. That could very well be one of the reasons why, but... Now returning back to the pits for a front wing, and Mike Seymour in 16th position. He was much higher up the field earlier on, wasn't he, for any vision?
And we also have a battle going on for 11th place here, which is Gretsch and Miles Dixon for 10th. Sorry, this is over, and they're side by side going down to turn 1. Very late braking once again for Dixon. He's great on the brakes here. Oh, he's tried to close the door very late there. He came to the centre part of the track, and it caused contact between Gretsch and Dixon, but they've been just been able to control it, but it was very, very tight between the pair of them, and Dixon has moved to the middle part of the track, and that was a little bit ordinary there for Dixon, and Gretsch has just about been able to hold on to that front wing, as was well informed. Apparently Alex Rolls had a huge amount of smoke billowing out the back of his car in front of the race leader, Martin Schumacher, which caused a huge issue for him, heading down towards Ascari, and then Parabolica, Alex Rolls went off and that's I believe is now retired, as Gretchen Dixon still continues, as Gretchen will now try and get round Dixon, heading towards the Ascari chicane. He's come out of second Lesmo underneath that rear wing that says minute on it, by the looks of it, I think, as Dixon is again great under braking in Miles Dixon here, as Terence Gretsch still tries to find his way around that pesky green machine.
Miles Dixon, I followed his career very well with interest, because I remember him starting his sim race career with my team a few years ago, and my has he grown into, albeit a slightly reckless at times racer, but he's most certainly improved over time, and this time he's up side by side with Terence Gretsch. They've raced before in open wheelers in other series, but this time I feel Terence has got the inside line, and they will have the inside track to a top 10 position. But once again, Miles very, very late in the brakes. Terence this time later, but that's not stopping anytime soon. Manages to swarm all over the track to keep the position going, keeps it with one fair move and holds the position. Is he going to keep to the inside for the Curva Grande? Yes, he is indeed. And so long as he then plops it right in the middle of the track, just exactly what Miles was doing to him earlier on, which he does not do. Miles, I think, is going to send one flying up the inside. Indeed he does, and that's an anti-cut, Terence. That is not the black stuff. Unfortunately, that Miles retakes the position for the time being. I can see that one running on and on.
I believe it will do, because it looks like the downforce Terence Gretsch has through this middle sector, through the two Lesmos, allows them to close up on Miles Dixon, but Dixon is getting good exits out the corner, breaking phenomenally late into the corners as well, which has given them the upper hand, as Gretsch is still a little bit looks like a little bit uneasy under braking, or Dixon is just last of the late breakers. But nevertheless, the battle ensues, and it looks like Pedicas has lost ground to those in front of him, because Schumacher and Cooper, they're all there. Now that's up to 2.7 seconds, as Cullen is 1.8 behind Cooper, but then Pedicas has fallen to 4.6 behind Cullen, as they're side by side once again for 10th position here between Dixon and Gretsch. Like Simon said, this is just going to go on and on until I suspect Gretsch can break that toe of Miles Dixon, because he's definitely quicker through that middle sector. So if he's in front, I suspect Gretsch might be able to get the upper hand. But it's Dixon who's going to break late again, is he? Oh, not as late this time. Can Gretsch go around the outside? No, it's just too tight through that first Della Rosa chicane. So it's not going to work out as a head to answer the Della Rosa chicane from Curva Grande.
In that kind of move where you're going down out of the parabolica down the home straight, do you particularly, as a driver, because you have more experience recently than what I do, favour the inside or the outside for that kind of move? Because you see people trying it on whichever way they possibly can, but I'd have always thought the inside for that one, because then you can block off the racing line. But increasingly you see people getting a bit desperate, a bit like Miles Dixon out of Lesmo 1, being a wee bit off it, and again in Lesmo 2 a bit troublesome, and Terence Gretsch way rally style out of the second Lesmo. And actually, I'll just hold that one off. So there's been a change of position elsewhere, though. Martin O'Connor has been passed by Boyd Bryson for 7th and 8th positions. So that's a change there. And I think Gretsch is going to go through on Dixon as well. And look at that. Neither of those two, well, they can't both be given a time penalty, Vettel style, can they? As they both take each other off the track. And I think Terence is actually, no, Dixon is late on the brakes and keeps his 11th position for the time being. But yeah, where would you particularly see yourself going through, inside or outside, Nick?
Well, I think we're about to see another manoeuvre by Dixon on the outside. Personally, due to the nature of this track, has unfortunately lost Mike Seymour now on his return after the broken wrist, as Gretsch goes to the inside, and can he defend it this time? It looks like he has done. Can he get the drive? He does get the drive, so I suspect Dixon will start to close up down to the second chicane, but nevertheless, I suspect Gretsch might nearly have that one done. No, maybe not actually, because Dixon is closing, and he's closing very fast. How late will he go on the brakes? Not late enough. I suspect this one could be done, because Gretsch should be faster through the Lesmos. In terms of turn 1, I suspect the inside is probably more ideal for this event due to the nature of the higher curbs. Round the outside is possible, but I would suspect more so for the inside. Oh no, Miles Dixon spun! Second Lesmo spun out the second Lesmo there in 11th place. And that's just about sealed that one for Gretsch at the moment. And Kenny Leibert's going to be past him as well. Oh no, so that's Camilleri, so he's actually be unlapping himself there.
Will do indeed. That is, well, I think if Chris Allen had got round another corner, we'd have seen exactly the same from him. The Green Stripes racing car had binned it in Lesmo 1, then had actually got a puncture, so he's made contact with something somewhere, spun across the track on his way to Lesmo 2, and is promptly parked up and retired, and that gives us just 18 drivers and runners and riders remaining in this event. And the rundown of the order as it stands at the moment is Martin Schumacher leading for CSG ahead of teammate Alex Cooper, 2.6 seconds back. Phil Cullen is third, 4.1 off the leader, and closing on Cooper at the moment, although Pestovs is between them. Peter Kaza is being closed in fourth position by Adam Rouse in 5 for Hawkeye. I think that could be a good one to watch later on. Andrew Morgan on his own in 6. Boyd Bryson has leapfrogged Martin O'Connor for 7 and 8 and is now pulling away. Ryan Walker has been so lonely in at 9th position, must be curse of the Scots. 10 Terence Gretsch now after Miles Dixon's Fupo, as Kenny Leiber is in 12th for PB Racing. Morton Vernonson's only 3 seconds further back for Green Stripes in 13. Simon Crane shadowing him just half a second back in 14 for Waterblue Racing, so could Mr Crane have another scalp to add to his collection. Scott Bennett, 15 for Kerno, the last of the unlapped. Then 1 lap down into the pits actually is Andrzej Pestov for NRT. Martin Bulgin after his front wing replacement, and Keith Calimeri, who done 2 pit stops in 3 opening laps. As here comes Adam Rouse, fancying a little nose at Casa by the looks of it.
It looks like he is indeed, and I think we're just out further down the field as it was a drive-through penalty, I believe it was for Pestovs that he had there. So I think he might have been in and come back out again, and he's actually had a drive-through penalty as the battle between Rouse and Casa starts to really build. And Casa looks like he's struggling at the moment, and Adam Rouse has closed that gap considerably, and they're only 5.7 seconds off Phil Cullen. So if Adam Rouse can navigate his way around the Torrent Motorsports machinery, it will be interesting to see if he can close in his Hawkeye onto the back of Phil Cullen for Halcyon Racing. So it's just not happening at the moment for Adam Rouse, but he's getting closer and closer to that Torrent Motorsports rear wing. At the front, Martin Schumacher leads his teammate Alex Cooper by 2.6 seconds for CSG.
I always find Monza is one of those circuits that you have to get into some kind of transit rhythm with it. Very similar to like a street circuit like Monte Carlo and so on, where you have to kind of thread your way in and it becomes second nature. Because the movements that you have in this type of car, as Rouse has a go at Casa again, you almost have to become almost second nature. It takes a while to inbreed the pattern into it, which I think inbreeding, that's something for an entirely different cast, is going to be impeding his rear wing over the front of Casa's front one. If he can get the grip into turn 1, Casa holds on around the outside. He's going to be slightly wrong-footed on the exit. Rouse and Casa side by side on the exit. Rouse a much better exit out of the corner, able to floor the throttle before Petter was able to do anything. Through he goes. Just got to make sure that he keeps the nice line into the second chicane. Casa fancying half a look, but it's so bumpy under braking round there. You can see the cars physically moving as they do so when they hit the brakes, and Casa immediately looking like he's dropped off somewhat straight away there, and if that's the toe broken, this could very well be a very consolidating lap for Adam Rouse as he takes full position for the time being.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Adam Rouse had a great run there, and he's been able to navigate his way around Peter Casa, but Phil Cullen and I think Adam Cooper had a moment in turn 1 as well, because the gap's out to 2.3 seconds and there was a moment between the pair of them. So they're still the same though. I've seen 2.7 between Schumacher and Cooper, so I think it was actually Cullen that may have spun in turn 1 as Martin Schumacher goes through to complete lap number 18 and start onto lap 19, 3.1 seconds in front of his teammate Alex Cooper. The fastest lap differences between them is Schumacher's on a 28.460 and Cooper's on a 28.669, so 2 tenths advantage there for Martin Schumacher. But the fastest man is actually Phil Cullen, who's done a 28.273. So a magnificent time there for Phil Cullen, and shows the raw pace he looks like he has in that Halcyon car today, as Rouse has pulled an advantage of 8 tenths over Peter Casa.
Simon Crane's been off the track in 14th position, has lost 10 seconds on Morton Vernonson in the battle over unlucky for some 13, so let's put an end to that little mini scrapperoo for the time being, and the field are just starting to petter themselves out, the bumps, Sorry. And if anything, it's still the Rouse and Casa battle that is the closest for the time being. Though Kenny Leiber is slowly but surely eating into Miles Dixon, but there's still 3 seconds between them currently at the moment. If you're going to be doing a one-stop, would you necessarily cut the race in half since we're approaching half distance, or would you prefer to do a splash and dash at the end?
It's interesting you ask that. Due to the nature of these tyres, there's no tyre warmers in the Supercup series, so these tyres take a long time to heat up. So if they were to dive in and change tyres as well, I'd leave it more so probably towards the end, so you can actually use the tyres earlier on and build some sort of gap and advantage. So I'd push it out more towards the end, personally. But looks like one or two pit lights are starting to flash on, and we are on to lap number 20, which is basically the half race distance. Well, it is a half race distance, in fact. We've just completed lap 19, and we're on to lap 20. So looks like we may see a couple do the Simon Smith halfway cut pit lane stop.
Why not? It's just like a bar of Galaxy chocolate. Why not just do it in 2 halves and pretend you were on a diet? So Boyd Bryson in the first one in from what was 7th position. O'Connor and Walker has gone through, and Bryson actually is going to come back out into a nice clear track, because there's a massive gap basically between the top 9 and the rest of the field going through. There's Terence Gretsch, the next one in 10th for Malta Force GP, is also into the pits. So a few people deciding that actually maybe the weight penalty of the fuel may well have been worth offsetting against the general tyres, as Lever and Bernenson have closed right up for 12th and 13th. I think Kenny Leiber's had a bit of a drama somewhere along the line, because he's lost 5 seconds to Miles Dixon that last lap round. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting in the strategy calls. No one else appearing to pop in at the moment. With the tyres though, I was speaking to people before the race, and they were saying that it takes so long to get the tyres on, as Martin Schumacher's in from the lead on lap 21. That will be that they're starting, or lap 20. Yeah, lap 21. How long does it take for tyres to kind of get back up to their working temperature, where you feel the grip back going again?
Well, we saw from qualifying, due to as I said, the nature of these tyres, they were going roughly around in 3 to 4 lap stints. They're actually stinting to qualify even. So running lower fuel than they are now, so that but they end up running around 3 to 4 laps to stint the tyres to get them up to temperature and to do some form of lap time. So I'd say 3 to 4 laps, but due to having the higher fuel load at the start of the race, they may not come in to around about 7 or 8. And I have seen a couple of times in previous races, especially with Peter Casa, has actually done his fastest lap right at the very end of a stint, when the fuel is at its absolute lightest. So it shows the endurance capabilities of these tyres, and that you really get the heat cycle into them, and they pay you back later on.
Excellent stuff. Martin Schumacher rejoined in 6th position. He's got 3 seconds basically behind Andrew Morgan, so it's going to be very interesting to see what Morgan does, because that could very well play into what Martin Schumacher's overall race will be. Because if Cooper and Cullen and everyone else decides that they're actually going to go for the long haul, we'll soon see if they're popping into the pits this time by on their 21st lap. Cooper isn't, but Cullen is, so there's definitely a complete split between what's going on. People could very well end up being slightly boxed behind people and having to perform overtakes, and you know, as soon as you get into the heat of a battle, that's where you lose time, hand over fist. And it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. Cullen versus Schumacher. Schumacher exiting the Parabolica now, Cullen coming down pit lane.
Yeah, it looks like that's the case, and Cullen's going to come out. Is he going to come out in front of Schumacher here? Schumacher's going to be close. They're going to go down into turn 1. This is going to be very close between them. Oh, very late break in there from Martin Schumacher, and he gets that position back. That's a great move around the outside there, as I suspect on cold tyres there for Phil Cullen. He's just a little bit uneasy as Schumacher takes that position back. So it's going to be a case of did they go for fuel and tyres, and how light has Phil Cullen also gone there, because he's a lot closer to Schumacher.
Massive crash going on between Martin O'Connor and Kelly Leiber for 12 and 11. Leiber basically hits the back of O'Connor, round they go. Leiber's lost his front wing, O'Connor limping to the pits as well with a damaged car. Both of those were running quite nicely up the field. O'Connor was doing particularly well. So unfortunate ends for those two, as they're going to have to pit for repairs, both in, as is Miles Dixon as well.
Yeah, and we've also just had Adam Rouse from P2. He spun in the Variante della Roggia, and he's dropped now behind Pedicassa to the extent of 1 second. So he actually, yeah, he spun, and it's been a bit of an issue there for Adam Rouse, but he's got going again. He's now 8/10 behind Casa, as it looks like apparently the Libya incident was actually synchronised spinning. So I know we're in Olympics, not synchronised swimming, but synchronised spinning. Or synchronised diving, I should say.
Whatever it is, it was a splash landing into the barriers, and that wasn't what either of them wanted. As Scott Bennett, trying to have a go at Miles Dixon for 12 and 13, ended up nearly spinning, trying to get himself out of the move. As Martin Schumacher having a go at Phil Cullen. But nothing doing for 4th and 5th position at the moment. What
Well,
that will do...
that's actually a change there, because Cullen's got by Schumacher again, so we've missed that one, because Schumacher got in front on that previous lap in turn 1, so Cullen's gone by and held that position, but he's going to come under attack again, and Cullen's gone defensive straight away, but oh, he moved back right in the braking zone. It could have left the door open for Schumacher. Schumacher didn't take it. He's not like Michael and take the opportunistic move, and Cullen has secured currently that 4th position as he come up behind Kenny Libya, who's already had a spin or two, and will navigate his way back to pit lane, as Alex Cooper is out in front to the rate of 12.2 seconds in front of Pedicassa. Pedicassa, oh, this is crazy. It's Dixon. Yep, Dixon moves out the way. Will he get out of the way for Rousey as well? Going on the inside, Dixon, look up, there's a blue flag there. Yeah, out the way, well played. And Rouse goes by. Now, will he dive into pit lane? Looks like he may do. He does. So Adam Rouse now dives into pit lane to take his 1 stop, I believe, for the day, as he will lose out now also to Phil Cullen. And Martin Schumacher also. Oh, massive oversteer there for Rouse entering pit lane. That's a Valentino Rossi sideways moment into your pit box. Why not? And Schumacher goes by, and also Phil Cullen. Now, where's Ryan Walker? Oh, that's absolutely ideal. He's decided to hit pit lane. So Rouse will come out into clear air, other than back markers, which he has in the effect of Simon Crane.
So
he's just gone off.
Oh dear. Curse of the commentator by the looks of it. 15th position for Crane. He's doing much better as Andrew Morgan has passed. And Boyd Bryson has got round Ryan Walker as well, as he rejoins in 8th position from his pit stop. Martin O'Connor decided not to pit after that and spinning down into turn 1 after that incident, so he's decided to limp on with whatever damage he had by smacking the barrier. Cooper now 13.1 clear of Casa. Quite nifty indeed, but very much a school of two thoughts then currently at the moment, and Cooper is the man that is currently scooping up all the honours, but quite what he can do between himself and Cullen. 26 seconds the advantage over him that he's got. How long have we got for a pit stop around here roughly? It's one of the shortest pit lanes out there, isn't it, Nick?
It is one of the shortest pit lanes, and it also depends on what they decide to do, as I've been just informed by our trusty race director Dave Gar Smith. Apparently Phil Cullen did not take tyres, only fuel, and Martin Schumacher did take tyres, hence why they were so close on track, but also why Cullen was able to get round Schumacher, because those tyres, as I said before, take longer to heat up, and Cullen already had the heat in his tyres and was able to simply drive round, and has pulled away to the effect of 1.4 seconds.
Well informed, and we do enjoy our race director and our cameraman and all of you watching at home. Thank you very much for tuning in. Of course, you can tweet me at Satoriumon if you fancy it. I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions here on this GPVWC race, and you're always more than welcome to sign yourselves up, get involved in the Supercup action over at www.gpvwc.com. I can see a little bit of smoke coming out from someone. Not sure who it was. It was Andrew Morgan steaming into turn 1, but he got away with it eventually. So currently, Cooper leads, not stopped. Casa second, not stopped. Third for Cullen, who has, as is Martin Schumacher. Adam Rouse is 5th, has stopped. Morgan 6th, he stopped as well. As is by Bryson in 7 and Walker in 8. O'Connor is 9 and has not. But Gretsch has, as Cooper's in from the lead, and this will be the one that determines exactly what happens. Tyres or no tyres, deal or no deal. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Cooper hits the box, and Pedicassa also now hits the pit lane. So it looks like Alex Cooper has taken tyres as well. So in comes Pedicassa as Alex Cooper heads down pit lane. We've also got Scott Bennett has just come into pit lane. So Alex leaves now. He's got, what's the advantage? Where's
well
Petter
clear.
as well? He's got a massive advantage, in fact, hasn't he? It's about 4.7. It's coming down because Cooper is now going into turn 1 and they're braking zone for Phil Cullen. So that's worked in terms of Alex Cooper getting in front of Cullen at 3.1 seconds. Martin Schumacher has fallen to 1.5 behind Cullen. And Petter Kasser has just gone into turn 1 now and is roughly 7 seconds behind Martin Schumacher. Adam Rouse has just got round, I believe that's one of the Toyota Express drivers. No, it's
Bennett
not,
just
it's Scott
coming
Bennett, in
back out
fact.
again, yeah.
Yep. And Adam Rouse is 5.6 seconds behind Kasser.
Awesome stuff. I think that's pretty much everyone in now that I can think of. So a quick rundown of where they've all ended up. Cooper leads from Cullen and Schumacher. Kasser 4, Rouse 5, Morgan 6, Bryson 7, kicking up the dust. Walker in 8, O'Connor 9, Gretsch 10, Vernonson 11. I don't believe he has stopped. No, he hasn't. Morton has not. He's going long route. Dixon's 12 has stopped. Leiber 13 stopped. Bennett 14 just stopped. Crane 15 has also stopped. Bolgin is 16, lap down all of these from Leiber downwards. Pestov's in 17th with several stops. And Calimeri just exiting the pits in 18th for what I believe is his 3rd stop of the race this evening. So obviously he needs quite a few Penelopes.
Yes, then we'll have to see how this now shakes out at the front between these fronts for 5 drivers, because Petter Kasser did not take tyres. So he should start to close potentially on Martin Schumacher, but Phil Cullen obviously also did not take tyres. And Alex is going to take a good few laps to get them tyres heated up. He's just gone braked very, very late since the turn 1. It's 1.6 seconds between Cullen and Cooper. And we believe Cooper did take those tyres, so Cullen may close on Cooper. And Martin Schumacher is 2.2 seconds behind Cullen. Petter Kasser is 8.9 behind Schumacher. And Adam Rouse is 4.7 behind Petter Kasser. Andrew Morgan then is in 6th place, just having a slight moment in turn 1 there. 11 seconds behind Adam Rouse. Boyd Bryson in 7th, with Ryan Walker a very lonely flying the Scottish flag in 8th place. I don't think he's actually seen any battles yet today. So then Martin O'Connor is 9th and Terence Gretsch is in 10th place.
They're slowly setting themselves down. Alex Cooper coming into lap Miles Dixon. That'll pop him down to 1 lap down, obviously, and that leaves just the lead 11 on the lead lap. 18 still running your retirement so far. Mike Seymour, disconnection or crash, we're not sure. Chris Allen was a crash. Alex Rolls had a smoking engine before it gave up. Nick Newcomb crashed out, we believe. Wesley Morris crashed out too. Matt Clipp crashed out. Jeff Mead hauled off to the side, coming out of the exit Parabolica, and parked it. Skajnowski disappeared after 1 lap, and Schroten, as we heard, every drama under the sun in 1 lap. And Phil Cullen just 1.1 now behind Alex Cooper, and there's no traffic between them now. They've got a good 7 seconds, 8 seconds or so before they catch up to Vernonson, who's still yet to stop. And they've got Calimeri also coming around to be lapped for the 2nd time, so they're not going to be left to their own devices just yet. And after that, I think they're free to race pretty much until the flag, because we come into the final furlong, final third of the race, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And on that previous lap, Phil Cullen took 7/10 out of Alex Cooper, so it shows.
Oh, Schumacher in the wall! Sorry to scream over you. I was watching it live and went, oh, heart in mouth moment. That was quite a big one out of Lesmo too. Smasheroo into the wall. Somehow, a quick recovery. Don't see any wings missing either. So that is pure luck of the Irish, even if he's not. And I wonder if he can continue to wrestle that car, because that was quite an almighty whack that he gave his front wing.
Yeah, he's just got to recompose himself now, because Petter Kasser is only 2.4 seconds behind now. So Petter will potentially start to close on Martin Schumacher, but that's blown the advantage that, the closing gap that he wanted to get at the front back towards Phil Cullen and his teammate Alex Cooper. And Alex Cooper currently has this one just slightly under control, because that gap's gone out to 1.3 seconds. So it depends now if Cooper, big lock up into turn 1 though there, really sliding the rear of that car, can get these tyres up to temperature. Drops down to 1 second again, so Cullen will not let this go for Halcyon Racing. So I think we're going to have a direct shootout now between Cooper and Cullen. and Schumacher will have to look in his rear view mirrors for that Toro Motorsports car of Pedicassa. And where's Adam Rouse? He's 2.7 seconds behind Casa.
If Philip Cullen needs a theme tune, it needs to be dum 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 dum, because he's proper catching up, eating in the gap now 1.0 seconds exactly between him and Cooper. They're coming up to our final runner, Keith Calamiri, for Waterloo Racing to pop a lap on him, but he'll get out of the way quite nicely. His car's running very slow in a straight line, actually. I think that's because of all the damage that he's received.
Yep, and there's 8 tenths between Cooper and Cullen. I think the one thing we have to consider now is obviously Cullen's on those warm tyres on lap 29, so with 10 to go, and it just depends now if those warm tyres will actually hold on all the way to the end. They are a lot warmer and suspect they'll have a lot more wear on them, and Cooper's on a much fresher rubber. They're just taking time to get up to temperature. But when they do, may potentially be too late for Phil Cullen, so he's really got to make these laps work now and close that gap of 6 tenths of a second down. He's still got the fastest lap, I think, now on a 28.273.
Yes, indeed. Just while we're watching that, Terence Gretsch in 9th position is all over the back of Martin O'Connor for 9th for NRT versus Multiforce GP. I'll keep an eye on that because Gretsch has been doing a few stab moves going down as they go around the Lesmo corners. I feel that that one could very well be becoming a swap for position within the next couple of corners, because Gretsch certainly has the legs on O'Connor since O'Connor went into the wall. In fact, they're side by side as they come down to the Ascari chicane, and Gretsch, is he going to go round the outside on him? Indeed he is. That's a great little move by Terence. Multiforce GP up to 9. O'Connor, a wounded NRT, dropping down to 10th, and is just doing well to keep it on the road, as it looks as though Cullen just half a second in.
Sorry, Martin Schumacher's just gone off at the second chicane as well, and that has now let Casa go by, and he's going to be under attack from Adam Rouse very, very shortly. This is an absolute nightmare, leading the race before the pit stops, and he's now down to 4th, and he's going to come under attack from Rouse, and at the front as well. Cullen has taken another 6 tenths out of Cooper, down to just half a second between them.
Yeah, Schumacher keeps braking on the grass. I think that could be the reason why. Boyd Bryson, I think, has just driven into the back of Andrew Morgan.
Here we go. Sorry for 4th place. This is Rouse on Schumacher, heading down towards the Parabolica. Sorry to cost you there, Simon, but going down to Parabolica, round the outside, Rouse goes. He won't be able to hold it, but Schumacher's going to go wider and wider through Parabolica. This will give the run for Adam Rouse underneath the rear wing of that CSG car. He can read virtualyr.net on the rear wing, and he will go to the inside. The probably more the optimised move to take down the inside. That's a late move from Martin Schumacher there. That was very, very late. He's going to hit Kenny Leiber. Whoa!
Oh!
He flew over the curbs.
Jesus.
That was incredible. He got it completely sideways and flew over the curbs. And Rouse has got to run again, and Rouse is going to get by this time because Leiber's going to have to get that way. 3 wide. That was squeaky bum time, but Rouse has managed to get through. Brakes late. Rouse holds it. Yes, he does. Rouse has gone up that position in front of Martin Schumacher. That was... wow, what a few moments that was.
That was Jim Carner-esque gold medal material.
He spun and coming out of the first Lesmo nearly. How did he save that, in fact? He nearly did a Hamilton and spear into the right-hand side of the barrier between the two Lesmos. So he's just about held on. Let's see what the braking's like going up into Ascari. Hits the brakes. Still on line, but his brakes may be starting to fade. Obviously, it's high on brake wear, this track, so it looks like he may start struggling. But Adam Rouse is by now, and he's safe. Kenny Lightbeard's been able to get out the way as well, but that was so nervous.
Phil Cullen's driven around the outside of Alex Cooper, and he's well through before they even get to turn 1. An easy peasy manoeuvre for the lead. I'm assuming that this is because Cooper is suffering a wee bit from tyre wear, and that was candy from a baby. Cullen quite clearly has the pace, as he's in the 28.7s. Cooper has been busy in the 29.3s, so that could very well be the reason why. Now he skips up into the slipstream of Cooper as Boyd Bryson takes Morgan for 6th position down into turn 1. Morgan's having a stab back through, and Bryson goes in way deep managing to cover off the racing line, but Boyd Bryson for Woods Racing up to 6th position. I've been watching that for a little while, and that's been a good little battle brewing. People will keep kicking up the grass on some of these faster corners, and that's the problem with Martin Schumacher. He's done it a few times, and it nearly caught him out right at the very beginning of the race when I first mentioned it. Now it really has, and that's problems again, as Morgan yoinks back through on Bryson and has his 6th position for the time being. But be careful, that one could get a wee bit sloppy seconds.
Yeah, looks like Alex Cooper's starting to close in on Cullen. I think they're getting quite close there, as they are starting to battle quite hard between the pair of them, actually, down and towards the front as well, between the race leaders. Cooper, going into turn 1, who was that?
That's
Was that Martin Bulgin? Okay,
yeah.
So Cullen and Cooper were able to get around him, as they're going to come off the rear of Morten Wernersen as well now. But Cooper, he shouldn't give up heart at the moment, because he's on fresher tyres, and Cullen's tyres will start to degrade at some point. They have to.
Martin Bulgin, oh my god, sorry. Hit by O'Connor coming out of the pit lane, is because O'Connor was busy trying to retake Gretsch, lost his front, retirement for Bulgin. That was, well, violation is all I can think. But yeah, nothing wrong, unfortunate accident, sometimes it happens.
Absolutely, and Phil Collins actually now pulling advantage, but Cooper shouldn't give up on this at all yet. Lap 33, those tyres will start to degrade, and Cullen is 6/10 advantage, but if Alex Cooper keeps pushing the way he is, he will start to close back in.
Currently it's Cullen leading Cooper just for the time being. Casa 3rd, Rouse 4, Schumacher still on the black stuff at the moment in 5. Boyd Bryson now in 6 ahead of Andrew Morgan and pulling away. Walker still on his Larry in 8th position. Gretsch and O'Connor 9 and 10 side by side once again, and O'Connor hits Gretsch and they're both off down at the first chicane. O'Connor now facing the wrong way. That car's walking wounded, and that will be a drama for him. Vernonson 11, Dixon and Lybeer, Bennett, Crane, Pestovs and Calamiri all still together, and Cooper not letting Cullen get away currently at the moment. The gap still sitting at 5/10 of a second, and that now that O'Connor and Gretsch have hit each other and taken each other off again, is the closest battle out on track for the time being. 6 laps to go.
I believe also that move from O'Connor was outside the track boundary as well, so he's going to cop some sort of penalty at some point, which is not great for Martin O'Connor there, going outside the track boundaries. And Terence Gretsch now 2.4 seconds in front in 9th position, as Alex Cooper currently is just trying to hold on to the back of Cullen, praying that in the remaining few laps, 5 laps, that those tyres on the Halcyon just decide to fall off the edge of a cliff.
We'll soon find out as the laps continue to tick away. Every lap closer is a lap closer to potential fueldom, although no one's gone non-stopping, so that shouldn't necessarily be a problem. But definitely the tyres, they have a finite lifespan, and if you hit them, it is all downhill from there. A couple of these drivers may well be testing the very boundaries of those tyres as we enter and complete lap 44 and start lap 35 of 39. Gap now 8/10 of a second. Cooper now outside of the generally considered slipstream area, and this is going to be where pure pace comes into it. It's coming a wee bit wobbly under braking, but gets away with it. Casa is still looking okay in 3rd. Rouse is still with him pretty much in 4th, but they've got Miles Dixon in between the pair of them. And that will help Rouse with a wee bit of slipstream action as they come down to turn 1, and Dixon moves out of the way very nicely indeed. So Schumacher in 5th, still very much there, but God knows what his mentality will be like, having spent a lot of it, well not a lot of it, various key moments facing the wrong direction. And Simon Crane off the track in 16th position, completely missing his braking for Ascari, and that's because he's got no front wing. So I assume that's a problem, probably one of the Lesmos, because that seems to be where a lot of people come in a cropper today.
And we just, I believe, Phil Cullen has spun. I believe that was in the second Lesmo there.
Oh!
And he's got no front wing, has he?
Yeah, he's lost his front wing.
Yes, I think it's the second Lesmo, so that's allowed Alex Cooper back into the lead of this race for CSG. And this could have implemented. Well, no, actually, it won't, because Collins not going to be able to hold on to second place. So this one with Casa up. Oh no, Rouse is on the back of Casa, in fact. So and Rouse has caught the back of Casa now as well. So can Rouse make an impression on Casa? And Cullen's going to have to come into the pit lane. Oh, make sure you don't go off there, Phil. No, oh, well played. He's held it through Parabolica. But here we go. This is Rouse on Pedicassa for second. It will be net overall. As soon as Cullen goes to the pit lane, that was an audacious move. He got it. He made it stick though. So that's a fantastic manoeuvre there for Adam Rouse, as Cassa's going to come straight back at him, going down to turn 1. I've just been informed that apparently Phil Cullen did a Lewis Hamilton and speared into those barriers in between Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. And Cassa, oh, they nudged! He nudged him. Rouse just nudged the rear left wheel of Pedicassa there. A little bit of a cheeky manoeuvre. And Rouse in the Hawkeye has got through. And Cassa is now going to have to try and catch the back of Adam Rouse. But yeah, Rouse ran a little bit deeper than he would have ideally liked. It just clipped ever so slightly that rear left tyre of Pedicassa. Oh, gentlemanly driver, well played. Well played. He's let Pedicassa back through. So gentleman driver that Adam Rouse says has let Pedicassa go back into second place. He'll now re-race him to try and take that second place. And he's currently in third. Now, where's Martin Schumacher? Right, Martin Schumacher's only a second behind the pair of them. So this could turn into a three-way scrap for second place, as Alex Cooper has a nice, healthy, stretch your legs advantage of 15.9 seconds on lap 36.
Couple of dramas off your screen. Boyd Bryson into the pits with no front wing as well from what was 6th position. He's rejoined in 8th position, now 9th, because Terence Gretsch has just got him down into turn 1. So dramas there as Casa and Rouse side by side again into the Parabolica. Rouse going for it round the outside. He's trying to get the best line possible.
Oh, wow.
Casa's got no kind of grip on the inside there. It was like he pulled off the accelerator around the corner. Rouse takes it, a fantastic manoeuvre. Ball to the wall round the outside. Takes the second position for the time being. Casa taking a quick duck back under for the slipstream to go for the outside for the first chicane. It's going to be last of late breakers, and Rouse gives it back. This is almost like top to toe. Oh, catchy monkey. Oh, please don't give me second. No, you have it. Give it back. Very, very delicate driving by the pair, but all this has done is played into the hands of Martin Schumacher, who says thank you very much, and is now within a slipstream sniff of getting a run at second position. Casa once again having a look at Rouse as we come down to the second set of chicane, and Rouse keeps it for the time being, but there is Martin Schumacher. You don't have to say boo to a goose for him, and he'll have a go at one of those two very, very shortly. Simon Crane's been off the track and has dropped down to last position as Casa has a go at having to defend from Martin Schumacher, and that's the problem now. When he decides that he's going to have to go at Rouse, he's going to have to think, but what happens if I fail? Because Martin Schumacher will be there to slip up.
Here he is.
Scoop up everything as he goes. Here he comes.
Yeah, here he comes up towards Zascari. I thought he was going to go for a late move there. That's a little bit of a risky one. He can set this up better, and he has done exactly that. Martin Schumacher on the back of Pedicassa. Like I said, this may actually have championship implementations as well, because the gap between Alex Cooper and Pedicassa could potentially come down, as Schumacher's going to go to the inside of Parabolica, as you know, because Cassa's wonderfully late on the brakes, controls the rear of that car with a nice little slide and gets back on the power. Pedicassa now has to defend for his life from Martin Schumacher before the end of this race. Is out onto lap 38 they go, and to the outside Martin Schumacher goes. Oh wow, that's a lot of straight line speed in comparison there for Martin Schumacher. Brakes late, and will he get it round the outside? Yes, he does. Martin Schumacher slips by the Toro Motorsports car of Pedicassa, so it's now Rouse from Schumacher from Casa, with Alex Cooper at 14.6 seconds further down the road on, like I said, lap 38.
All playing into the hands of his Casa as a go. Off your screens, Martin O'Connor went off at the Parabolica as contact between Martin and Petta, and Martin goes over the curbs. He knew he wasn't going to make that corner. Casa does his best to negotiate it. Not quite sure what the old complications or connotations of that one will happen, but we'll soon see what happens. But yeah, Martin O'Connor spun and smashed into the barriers exiting the Parabolica, has made it back into the pits for a new front ring and a couple of wheels. Don't know what will happen for that. He's still on for a collection of points maybe, but yeah, Schumacher keeps the position for third for now. Rouse, by default of that little squabble, has pulled out from the slipstream edge and is now into second position. Is looking quite nifty for at least the next couple of corners as Cooper starts his final lap for CSG, waltzing away in what appears to have been a nice serene effort for him. He's not made a foot wrong all evening, and this could very well be a fine victory with one lap to go, and apparently this will be him making a little triple. 3 in a row.
Yes, absolutely. I think Phil Collins had a slight moment as well, trying to chase down Andrew Morgan, unfortunately, which has caused him to slip back to 7.8 seconds further behind. Martin Schumacher obviously is now into third place. The potential could be for an investigation of that turn 1 moment where he seemed to take the most fantastic Top Gun moment and fly. So Martin Schumacher could come under investigation for that. So Pedicassa still needs to try and chase him down, but yeah, a couple of interesting moments, especially just down here now at the second chicane where he actually went over. He was in front, but he actually went over to keep the advantage rather than gain the advantage as such. So depends how the stewards view that come the end of the race. But yeah, oh, it's gone off! He's gone off! Oh wow! Okay, he managed to control that very well on the dirt there out the second Lesmo. I believe Terence Gresh has had a slight moment as well. Yes, he has, ninth position. He's lost his front wing. Unfortunately, but Martin Schumacher is having all kinds of moments at the moment going off track.
As Alex Cooper rounds the wounded Gretsch, who came together with Boyd Bryson. Cooper, none of that though, takes the victory and wins here the Italian Grand Prix for the GPVWC Supercup League, sponsored by Sim Inc. Fantastic stuff for CSG Racing. Second will be Adam Rouse as he crosses the line now, scraping through third after a topsy-turvy evening of entertainment. Martin Schumacher ahead of Pedicassa in 4. Andrew Morgan quite a way back despite being right with these lot earlier on. He's going to end up in 5th position for Tiger Express Motorsports, but I think he'll still be pretty pleased with that top 5 effort. Loving the livery of that too, nice little print going on. And in 6th will be Philip Cullen. If anyone's going to be kicking themselves, I think it will be him by the end of this race, because that was a potential victory thrown away pretty much through no fault, through no particular fault other than his own, with Ryan Walker coming home 7. Boyd Bryson has snatched 8th, and he's the last of the unlapped runners, ahead of Terence Gretsch in 9 and Morton Bernardson 10. They're both lapped, as is Miles Dixon in 11. Kenny Liebeer is going to grab 12th ahead of Scott Bennett, who comes home 13 for Kerno. Andrzej Pestov's 14th. Martin O'Connor did make it home in 15th after what was an excursion, but behind his NRT teammate. And in the Water Blue Racing duo, both 2 laps down, Keith Calamiri beating home Simon Crane in the end after all of that. In the retirements, Martin Bolgin, Mike Seymour, Chris Allen, Alex Rolls, Nick Newcomb, Wesley Morris, Matt Klipp, Jeff Mead, Marek Skajnowski, and of course our pole sitter Roy Stroton, out before the first lap was even over. Great racing, Nick.
A fantastic race there this evening for the Super Cup guys. A magnificent race around Monza here, and really am disappointed. And really disappointed for Phil Cullen, because he had a magnificent race. He really did, and then had to have that slight Hamilton moment that cost him his front wing. And really am disappointed and feel for Phil Cullen massively, because he did have a great race there. But Martin Schumacher, I'm sure, is going to have to be under a little bit of flack to protect himself from. And Pedicassa is, I think he was a little bit annoyed there towards the end as they crossed the line. He just kind of sweeps in front of his front wing and said, "What the hell was all that about?" So I'm sure Pedicassa and Tyrrell Motorsports will not be the best pleased with that one whatsoever.
So, the championship then. Alex Cooper taking his 3rd straight win, continuing to nibble into Pedicassa's lead. Before this race started, Pedicassa was on 124 points against Alex Cooper's 97, and those two are really the top-notch lot, because it's a big old jump back to 59 points for Phil Cullen. Adam Rouse was on 48, and Rickard Helfson not here today on 45. A lot of those will be bouncing up the field somewhat, so can't have hurt, but definitely that 27-point gap between Cooper and Casa shrunk after today.
Yeah, more definitely, especially in relation to the gap it was increased to in the end between the pair of them. So I think we will see that gap significantly shrink, because obviously Alex Cooper winning and then Pedder ending up in 4th, subject to potential investigation for Martin Schumacher, but potentially 4th, so that gap certainly may have come down. Well, it has to come down for sure.
Absolutely, and of course plenty of rounds still to go, so the championship fight is definitely on, and we've been joined, I believe, by Alex Cooper, our race winner here today. Congratulations, mate. Talk us through it.
That was so lucky, that's all I can say. First I thought Martin had it in the bag, and he pitted early and lost out to Phil. And then I was so slow at the end. Phil passed me, and then he went in the wall and just, I don't know, close it home. All I can say is I was pretty lucky, to be honest.
But you still have to have had the speed to be in it to win it, so don't knock yourself down for it. Anything at all?
Well, I mean, Alex, that was a fantastic run for you that you've had there. Obviously, that's I think it's 3 in a row now. So, I mean, how does that feel to win 3 in a row? And obviously, in the sense that will really close the gap to Petter.
Yeah, it's nice. I've never really won 3 in a row, so I'm happy with it. I don't know what the gap will be in the standings now, but you know, we can go for wins at the rest, but never give up, obviously, on the championship. But it's going to be pretty hard to pull back. I think it's 20 odd points. I'm not sure what it is, but it should be pretty hard. But we'll try.
Well, magnificent effort there, mate, and full credit for taking that win there today, because that was very impressive to control yourself there at the front, and I think about 15 seconds you won by. So excellent work there from Alex Cooper. I think we also have a few other drivers. I think we have Phil Cullen actually as well. So Phil, massively unlucky. I'm so gutted and disappointed for you, because that was you having a wonderful run and just had a bit of a Lewis Hamilton moment there towards the end.
Bollocks is all I can say to it. I mean, the only thing is, at least I can laugh about it right now. I've been lucky outside of my GPVWC career that I've managed to win races. This wasn't going to be would have been my first single-seater race in here, and it does hurt, and it's going to hurt for a while, because, you know, somehow I got the car up there. I don't know how I managed to keep with them. You know, the last few races, myself and Adam, you know, we've been off the pace, especially compared to the front few, and to be actually up there and challenged, and actually lead a lap, and then I thought, right, let's see if I can do this, and then car just went a little bit wider than it should have, through Lesmo, out of the exit of Lesmo 1, just caught a bit of gravel, and c'est la vie.
Such a shame for you, because that was shaped up to be a fantastic ending there. Because obviously, I believe you were on older tyres still as well. So were you afraid at any point that Alex on those newer tyres may come back at you after you made that pass?
It was always going to be a possibility, but during testing I was reasonably confident enough the tyres were going to hold. I think it was going to be more down to just Alex getting me maybe on pure raw speed that he has over me now than anything else, rather than the tyres. But I mean, I wouldn't even go as far to blame the tyres for what happened there. I think it was just a case of got in a little too deep, and it went just a millimetre too wide on me. But sure, that's what happens sometimes. And the only thing I can hope for is that down the line I'm going to get another chance. I mean, it's not often going to get an opportunity, but I suppose I did say I was going to finish 5th or 6th before the start of this race, and you know, I came through with that at least.
Absolutely, and I think if you show this turn of pace that you've shown here at Monza today, then there's absolutely no doubt going into the second half of the season that you're going to show that speed at every other circuit, and I'm sure Spa might be an even better result potentially for you.
Hopefully. We've got to prove this isn't a one-off. That's the main thing. Like I said, the last few races, we've been poor. You know, we've fallen behind. You know, after we had, what was it, in China and Abu Dhabi, we had podiums, and then we fell back to 5th and 6th. And even the gap between us and the front were getting bigger. And obviously, with the likes of Marek, and we have Roy and Terence, you know, they were getting up there ahead of us. So it's nice to be back up the front, and you know, we just don't want this to be a one-off now.
Absolutely. And anything else to talk about there, Simon?
No. Just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure you shall be up there giving it the luck of the Irish for next time. And hopefully you'll get the rub of the green, not the rub of the barriers, because they be better.
With a bit of luck. Hopefully.
If in doubt, I think beer for all is definitely mentioned or needed, especially in the hot weather like this. And I don't think we've got any other drivers that are about to have a look. So final thoughts, Nick, before we sign off for the evening.
Well, I think we've just seen an absolutely magnificent race there, a fantastic final 10 laps there, and if it carries on like this, I'm sure the Supercup is going to really heat up towards the end if Alex and a few of the other drivers can start maybe pinching a few points off Pedicassa here and there, and Phil Collins showing his pace there also today. So we could see a bit of a shock towards the second half of this season, and looking forward to it massively. So big congratulations to Alex and CSG today.
Indeed, and that'd be echoed from myself. Next race for the Super Cup itself will be at the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps on the 8th of August.